diving into a little bit of the financials, page 5 starts the balance sheet for the governmental funds. This consists of your general fund, long-term asset fund, lease purchase fund, and long-term designation fund. And then the fifth column of numbers is non-major funds, and those are broken out separately in the back. The way these financials get put together is some thresholds that require individual funds to be laid out separately, and then some smaller funds with dollar-wise can be broken on the back. So general fund, if you look in the bottom, second line from the bottom, the total fund balance in the general fund is about $717,000. The line above that, $712,950, that would be the amount that's available to spend. It's not earmarked, restricted for any purpose, not assigned for any purpose. So that is the dollars that you have to spend in the general fund. One of the things we do is we take that number, kind of divided by your general fund expenditures, and you're sitting at about 37%, which would be considered, a healthy fund balance. Nothing, no red flags there. Once you start getting under that 10% range, we want to make sure that budgetary controls are in place, etc. So no red flags there. The other funds that you see here all have positive ending fund balances. The non-majors, the fifth column, you can see that unassigned number, 3 lines from the bottom. There's a few funds that do have deficit fund balances, and I'll just point those out when we get there. But those, I guess should be looked at to make sure that at some point those are made whole, either via transfer from another fund or possibly, revenues in future years, etc. Flipping the page then to page 6, this is the changes within those funds. 3 lines from the bottom, you can see the net change in fund balances. The general fund was a positive $210,484. This is after some transfers in as well. The other funds, long-term asset fund was down about $13,000. Lease purchase was down about $12,300, and then that long-term designation fund was up $36,000. Non-major funds, like I said, are broken out in the back. Pages 7 through 10 are the proprietary fund statements. So these would be your business type or enterprise funds. And so the water and sewer, light and liquor store funds. On the bottom of page 7, once again, that bottom number is your net position, which would be like your equity or retained earnings in the entity. And so all of them have positive net position at year end. The line right above the bottom number is that unrestricted portion. That would be the portion that's not tied up into your fixed assets. It's available to spend. Water and sewer is at about $380,000, light at $844,000, and then the liquor fund is a deficit $33,000. But I guess I just want to point out that a few years back, that net pension liability got added to these financial statements, and that's related to your involvement in the PERA fund. And so because of that, there's some numbers on this that makes that number look worse than I think it really is. And so if you back out the effects of the net pension information, you'd actually be at a positive $36,136 within that liquor fund. So just kind of want to point that out because it's really just an accounting issue. It's not really anything that you're going to have to pay out. Flipping the page then to page 8, 3 lines from the bottom, you can see the changes within those enterprise funds. And so the water and sewer fund was up $195,000. Light fund was up $208,000 after transfers out, and then the liquor fund was down about $6,400. Just keep in mind that this also includes the effects of depreciation, which is non-cash, so that's about $284,000 in total for amongst all the funds. So that does make the number look a little worse, but it also is indicating that at some point assets might need to be replaced or fixed up. So the next 2 pages, pages 9 and 10, are the cash flow statements. And so 3 lines from the bottom on page 9, you can see the change in cash flows. Water and sewer is up $48,000, light is up $265,000. Liquor store basically broke even on cash flow. And this, of course, is going to take out those depreciation effects. Anything that's non-cash, it's going to pull that back out of here. So this is the true cash number. Overall, up $313,000 in the enterprise funds. The next several pages, pages 11 through 29, are the footnotes to the financial statements. Probably won't go into any detail at this point, but if there's questions on that, I'll circle back. This just has your accounting policies, lots of information on the net pension liability, etc. Right now, let's go to page 30. Page 30 starts the budgetary comparison schedule for the general fund. And this is broken out in some pretty good detail, so you can compare line by line to the budget. And so on page 30, you can see about halfway down the page, there's a line for total revenues. And so overall in total revenues, you were over budget about $166,000. So you received more than you had anticipated by about $167,000. And then on page 31, you can see the expenditures, which are about a third of the way from the bottom, was over budget by $77,329. So after the year, you were about $101,000 better than projected in the general fund. So I guess a good variance as far as that's concerned. And like I said, there's lots of details based off where the goods in the, you know, if you had some budgeted for and just didn't do it this year, et cetera, you can see that. Starting on page 34, I kind of mentioned if you're looking for some other funds, they're broken out in the back here. So just another, you know, library, public works, et cetera. These are the funds that are, I guess, small enough that they don't get separated out in the front of the financials, but we do want to provide the detail in case there's questions or anybody wants to look at it. And I think on page 38 is probably the best area to kind of give yourself a snapshot of where everything ended up. And so this is breaking out each fund as well as the different categories that they fit into. So if you look all the way on the right, this is going to be your fund balance or total equity within these funds. And so, for example, the second line from the top, the unassigned fund balance in the general fund, I already pointed out $712,950. And then I just mentioned there's a few funds, I think there's 3 funds that have negative fund balances. So those are the funds that maybe to just take a peek at and just make sure that there's a plan of attack going forward to eliminate those funds. If there's not a lot of activity going in there, you might have to look at a transfer or, you know, some other revenue source at some point. So just wanted to point that out. Other than that, all the other funds have positive fund balances.
Perfect. This is the answer.
Page 39 breaks out all the different debt issuances that you have and what's due the next year. So 3 columns from the right, you can see the overall debt balance at year end was
So
about
that comes back
$3.97
in.
million.
Yeah.
And then there was about $246,000 in new water and sewer revenue bonds during the year that were issued. So overall, it was down about a couple $100,000 after payments, scheduled payments were made. Then the next section is a few more reports. The page 40 is the Minnesota Legal Compliance Report. The state provides us with guidance where basically we go through a checklist and say if you did it or not. There was one issue that we found just indicating that there's some outstanding checks that have been over I think it's 3 years old that are still on the bank reconciliation. So there is a process to go by to either reissue those checks or you have to send them into the state. And so just want to make sure you take a look at those and get those cleaned up. I don't think the amount is a material amount, but you know, there were some. Then pages 41 and 42 are the government auditing standards letter, which is just a high-level overview of the internal control structure at the city as well as compliance with laws, regulations, etc. And I think we just have the 3 repeat findings related to auditors' preparation of the financial statements, which virtually any city this size is going to have. Same thing with separation of duties, just limited with the number of staff members that you have in the finance office. And then the last one is just related to making sure that the accounts are reconciled in a timely manner, bank accounts, receivables, payroll, just taking a look at them more than just at year end so that everything's accurate when we get it, etc. So I think all those were there in the prior year. Any thoughts or questions on anything?
The only thing I wanted to point out, and I just asked Ashley about this, if you guys go back to page 38, one of the negatives at the balance at the end of the year is the revolving loan fund from the EDA. So that's money that's getting paid back to the EDA as these EDA loans get repaid. So technically we only had 2, but I just wanted to point that out to the council.
The other one's the event center.
Yeah.
We know.
Any other questions, comments, concerns from anybody? Perfect. How about that for easy?
Piece of cake.
Awesome.
All right, thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
Brian.
Appreciate it.
You guys can all keep these if you wanna.
All right, moving on to letter B, resolution 2022-08-01, the land sales for the cemetery. So Mike, if you wanna join us up here, please. And, I think we all know who you are, but if you wanna introduce yourself and, just give us maybe a quick rundown of kinda what you're thinking and.
Sure. Well, good evening to everyone. The proposal that is in front of you that was presented to the beautification committee
They were emailed out.
ties into our business's need for economic development, for expansion, primarily for parking. And we felt that we wanted to go through the steps and propose a fair amount to cover some of the expenses for this. Along with the expansion going to the south primarily and a little bit to the east, our goal is to have it in more of a decorative, more attractive looking appearance than it is right now. And that, not necessarily our business, the funeral home building, but the condition of the cemetery. And if you've been out there, you kind of understand what I'm referring to. So with that said, the plan would be to incorporate some level of landscaping and fencing and have an attractive buffer to the rest of the cemetery. Okay. Beyond that, some good questions came up out of beautification. The proposal was met with, I guess, a full approval at that level. I can answer questions for the council's concern this evening.
I'll just speak from the beautification committee. When we met out there, you know, we all agreed that it's for the benefit of not only the funeral home, but for the city. The look of, from the funeral home going into the cemetery and just that entranceway and everything, it would really benefit the city too, so.
Any other comments? We did get an email from Brianna. I did ask some questions just because it was more curiosity than anything about how many lots are out there, how many are still remaining. So I don't know if you guys got a chance to read this or not, but I'll go through it just to make it public knowledge. There are 7,582 grave sites total, with about 1,300 remaining, give or take. Does that sound about right, Mike?
1,300 remaining in the new addition or altogether?
Altogether.
There was some in the second one and then some in the third edition.
Remaining unsold, probably.
Unsold.
Correct.
Some that are probably in the old edition
Yeah,
sold,
so-
but
Yeah.
nobody there.
So
if
the
that makes
second,
sense.
the second edition as it stands today has 746 plots available. The third edition as it stands today has 578 plots available. That's our numbers. Does that sound about?
Yeah, that
About
could be
right.
accurate.
Okay. Also for reference, just so everyone's on the same page, so far in 2022, 7 graves have been sold. In 2021, 10 were sold, and in 2020, 32 were sold. Graves referred to a plot which is an average of 3 feet by 10 feet. So, just some
And
information.
to add on to that, we'd be taking around a little over 70 lots with this information, or with this, purchase.
Expansion.
Yeah.
You guys all got the pictures that Ashley sent out. Thanks to Mike, I'm assuming you aided in this at some point. You guys all have the proposal in front of you. I'm not gonna read it because I hope you did. But basically Mike is offering, the $10,000 purchase price for the second edition block, lots 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14, 15, 16, and in block 1, lots 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14, 15, and 16. I'm just paraphrasing. So I need a motion.
I think the only thing I have with this is the price. And here's why. If you look at these numbers that we got, it's about $15,750 worth of lots that we can sell. this is the only money that we get in to maintain that property, other than whatever the city puts into beautification. So like mowing, it's, you know, it's $1,100 to mow that thing a time, so, you know, that extra $5,700 is a year of mowing, you know what I mean? So if we undersell, I guess what I'm gonna say, we're cutting that budget even more, you know what I mean? So, for me, I'm okay selling it, I just think that price needs to be a lot closer to that $15,750.
That was
That's
brought
my
up
theory.
at the beautification meeting, the difference in price, and, we all just felt that, with what would be done, it would be worth the price that he's asking, and, we all felt it was a fair price, I guess, is what the beautification committee felt.
The 10,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the amount of money, I'm sure you guys are be putting into making that look, you know, up to spec and everything too, is gonna go a long ways to really adding value to that area over there. But I'd like to make the motion to accept the $10,000 bid.
Okay, I got a motion from Casey. I need a second, and we'll have some further discussion.
I'll second it.
Okay, I got a second from Crystal. I will say this, cause the beautification obviously did meet, and Mike, I appreciate you, joining them. We have the minutes attached to our council agenda. It was the committee's wish to decide to approve the proposal and move forward to the city council for the final decision. All members voting to approve, sending forward, approved. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Okay, I have, resolution 2022-08-01, the resolution, authorizing the sale of parcels of land in the city of Ada to, Frederickson Ganji Funeral Home, by roll call vote. Scott?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Crystal?
Aye.
Sean?
Nay.
Casey?
Aye.
Motion, or excuse me, resolution, 2022-01, or 08-01 passes. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Back to your question before we had the council meeting, that extra piece of pavement that we were talking about.
Right.
Ashley and I talked about it on Friday, and it was too late to get on the council packet this month. We discussed it
For the driveway.
for the driveway.
Yeah,
So we'll put it on the agenda for the September meeting.
Okay,
So we can discuss that and maybe get a little more information on it as well, and
the date of the September meeting early, I'm just trying to think ahead, if they're coming to do
well,
part of this project,
the biggest concern is after talking to Public Works is we don't know who put that driveway in, and we don't think the city put that driveway in. We think it was either put in maybe by you guys or Vissers, and so it was trying to figure out who actually put that little chunk in to figure out if the city should be responsible for maintaining it or not. And I apologize, I've been out, so I have not had time to look into
Okay.
it by now. But that was the biggest question, is that, we really didn't think that the city was responsible for putting that little section in.
so basically just trying to find out some more information.
Yeah,
September 6th will be the meeting.
but we have an August special session, and this can always go on it too.
Yeah, so I'm
Okay.
gonna set a special session tonight for,
Budget.
our budget planning.
Yeah.
And we can always add it to that.
and you have that number, that first.
I got that number on Friday from Brianna, so it was
Okay.
like, a little over $5 grand
$5,000,
for us
yeah.
to pave it,
So,
if the city's to
um,
pave it.
if that's okay with you, then I'll just add
Yeah.
it to that agenda.
That's
And
all
then,
I have.
I plan to add it to the August 17th meeting, so,
Okay.
we'll be in touch after that if that's okay.
And it doesn't really affect us, other than the scheduling of the project.
Sure,
They're right there, and if they can do it all type of thing, and,
yeah,
okay, thank you.
perfect,
The
awesome.
the sixth must be September's meeting.
Yeah,
The second, that's a Tuesday.
yep,
Yeah,
but we'll add it to our, August meeting here.
Okay.
we'll have a,
Special.
Thank you.
Yep.
budget planning.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
I'll send this to you, John. just-
Okay, moving on to letter C, donation request from, the youth baseball traveling team. If you guys wanna come up and introduce yourself and tell us what you're asking for, and
So I'm Lance,
I'm Baron.
and we're just asking for a little donation. for this fundraiser we're having at the A's tournament. So the Ada-Borp West Cougar baseball team will be fundraising for the classes of 2024, 25, 26, and 27 to help defer some of the costs associated with their team trip to play overnight against Norman County ECU and hit it all at a neutral site near the Twin Cities and attend a Twins game in, it's going to be in 2 years, obviously. We do it every 2 years. And then
The Ada A's will be hosting their regional tournaments this weekend at the Tony Sipe baseball field, August 6th and 7th. The youth boys will be working the concession stand, and we're asking the city council for $300 to help with expenses with food and serving.
that's about it.
I need a motion.
So move.
Okay, I got a motion from Josh, second from Crystal. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Which-
Thank you.
Which should we make the check out to, or who should we make the check out to?
Not Nate McCraven.
Would Mike or my mom bought all this stuff, I'm pretty sure. So Erica
Just-
Kritzberger
Okay,
Okay.
can write it. I'm pretty sure she bought all the food for it. So
okay,
yep.
awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Have a good night. Okay, moving on to mayor's report. 2022 elections. Obviously, they opened up on Tuesday. To my knowledge, no one was beating down the door signing up, right?
No.
They go through the 16th, and Ashley said she'd stay in the office that night until 5 p.m. So keep that in mind. And I don't think we're live anyway, so really.
We are
Oh, we are.
live.
Perfect.
There's no video, but
Audio?
there is audio.
Okay.
Audio's gone through the whole thing. I don't know why our videos are.
Okay.
cameras-
Awesome. So through the 16th of August here, elections are open again till 5 p.m. when Ashley closes City Hall.
Yeah.
Okay. Special session, budget planning for next year already. It is August. I'd like to set up a meeting with council's approval for the 17th of August here. It's a Wednesday.
6 p.m.
6 o'clock, unless you guys want to do it at 5. 6 o'clock. I got a lot of head nods. Okay, let's schedule it for the 17th at 6. And the last item I got is a recognition for Representative Paul Marquardt. Obviously, as you guys know, he's no longer seeking another term. The League of Minnesota Cities would like us to kind of give him a little bit of appreciation for his years in service, so I'm going to just read a quick little letter here. Representative Paul Marquardt, who represents our city at the state legislature, has been selected as a League of Minnesota Cities Legislature of Distinction for 2022. The League's Board of Directors recognized a total of 18 legislatures this year, including 9 House members, and 9 Senate members, for their actions and leadership on a wide variety of legislative issues of importance to cities across our state. So, thank you, Paul, for your many years of service. Administrator Clerk Treasurer's report.
Okay, department updates, couple of good news things. Deco Center, we do have 3 lifeguards right now that have applied, or 3 people that have applied. So we're hoping to either at least 1, 2, or all 3 of them are gonna work out for us. So that's good news. Brianna's been working with them to try to get them into the pool and swimming, and then hopefully set up lifeguard training here soon, so we can get back open to full-time. The other big thing there is we sent out sponsorship letters, or Brianna did, this summer, so end of June, beginning of July time, and we've gained 5 new sponsors since, which is awesome to see. Barrick Family Farms was one of them. Franson Bank was one of them. And then a few others, so I'll send those out, and those will get recognized. She's ordering signs for them, but awesome to see new sponsors come. The other big thing is they'll be celebrating their 30th anniversary this year for the Deco Center, which was built in 1992. So we are combining it with Fun in the Flatlands. So the Friday night of Fun in Flatlands, she's gonna have a lot of events, so you'll see some posters going out on that, just to kind of celebrate all the years we've been in business, I guess. So that's the Deco Center. police department, we are, still with 2 officers and with our part-time officer as of now, so, we might not be having to hire at this point. So we'll see how August and September go. Sorry, do you wanna take over for a second, John?
Yep.
Okay,
You want me to keep talking about the
Yeah.
police department?
sure.
So, Bruce may or may not be leaving us now, after all. So it's kind of a moving situation, but as of right now, he's gonna work through the month of August with us. And hopefully he'll continue. The union negotiations, I think, were a big part of that. Ashley and myself and Sean were involved in that 2 weeks ago. And, we'll hit on that later on, but, we did increase the price, obviously, to match the county, what the county's doing a little bit better. And I think that enticed him to maybe reconsider, along with some of our other benefits and the city of Ada. And there's just a lot of things involved, and hopefully that, that keeps him here for more than just a couple months. But,
Yeah.
yeah, they've both been doing a great job. Obviously, Gunner's been filling in part-time, but he's going away now for guard now in a month, so, hopefully, Bruce decides to stay a little bit longer, and we can keep moving forward. But we are still, looking to hire. The applications are still out there.
Yeah.
We haven't received any. But, again, hopefully, part of the union negotiations was to increase the pay plan to help maybe entice some of those individuals to come to a smaller town like Ada, and get a little bit more application, so.
So I just put some information on here, some of the things coming up. Obviously, we can take out audit review, cause that happened this month. So 2023, the budget, that'll happen here now the end of August. In September, you guys will need to approve the preliminary budget with the preliminary levy. So be thinking about that. You know, we've done a consistent of 5%. I mentioned this last month, we can always lower it in December, but we can't increase it. So, something to take a look at there. I've met with all but one department now. You know, really, there's nothing big, there's not really any big changes. COLA increase is gonna be the biggest one. And then obviously, you know, our fuel, and that's another big one. But you guys will review this now at the August 17th meeting, and then September you'll officially approve that levy. So audit review we did. Home rehab grant, I know we've talked about this for 2 years. The latest update we got is that they're hoping to award in September. So I know we've had a lot of questions on that. If anyone asks, we still have not heard back yet, and we hope to hear about that. Another big thing that'll be coming up is obviously the finalizing union negotiations. Like John mentioned, we did the police negotiations, but there is one speculation, and that's with our insurance, based on if our insurance rates were to increase by over 5%, we're gonna make sure that in November that we come back and kind of renegotiate just in case. And then we'll also have our other union as well that we have to sit down and meet with. So that'll be coming up. Another big thing coming up this year is the Main Street Bar contract renewal. So that'll be October, because their contract starts November 1st. So just something to think about there. And then elections obviously are in November. And then another big contract renewal will be our Red River Co-op. So that'll be a big discussion, and Rich from Red River Co-op will come in and go over what our services are now with them, which we think have been awesome and great. And then they'll go over other services that they offer, and then we'll decide as the council what we need and what we don't need. So these are just kind of the bigger items that are gonna go on. I should be around for most of them, or if not all of them, but if I'm not, I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on, obviously there's a lot of other things that happen every month, but these are kind of more of the bigger ones, so.
Okay. Moving on to new business, Kaleidoscope guests. Mark is not here. I'm gonna go on Kaleidoscope with him tomorrow.
He said Friday is this one,
Okay.
for this council
So
one.
Crystal and Sean, Friday.
Are you able?
I was hoping not to be in town
I
Friday.
mean,
I really
Well,
don't.
Mike's not here. Kim's not here, so I'm down to 3 guys. And
We can do it tomorrow.
Scott, I know you're not gonna be here.
Oh, I can do it by myself tomorrow, I don't care.
I'm on tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
We could
Well, then you just take care of it,
pre-record.
John.
We
Huh?
can,
Yeah,
You
you
just
can
take
just,
care of it,
you can
yeah.
just do it tomorrow.
I got it.
I
I can do it tomorrow, but I'd like to not be in town.
Why don't I'll take care of it. How about that, guys?
Okay.
I'll be a team
Summer's
player.
ending.
Summer's ending.
Yeah. Okay. Letter B, the mem-
Excited about it, I can tell.
I'm glowing, you just can't see me on camera. Memorandum of agreement between the city of Ada and the Teamsters Local 320. So this just goes back to what I was just discussing. Ashley and Sean and I met with the police department Teamsters union here a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And long story short, we need to be more competitive since every agency in our area is hiring, including us. Basically, we started out at 25 for a hire and went to 32, which is matching what the county is currently at, but they also have not had their union negotiations. So that number could go up. It's not gonna go up for us. I need just a motion to approve this, unless you guys want more information.
No.
Okay, got a motion from Josh, second from Crystal. Any further discussion? I will say this, it was very easy to deal with, Steve and the union representative. I thought it went
I
really
thought so.
well.
My first time,
It took us it took us an hour or two maybe, but it was civil, it was quick, it was to the point, and, so give them a little bit of credit too, but, all in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Next item is the resolution 2022-08-03, the election judge appointment. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Waive the reading.
I gotta move it, motion from Sean waiving the reading and a second from
Crystal.
Crystal. Any further discussion? By roll call vote. Scott? Josh?
Aye.
Crystal?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Casey?
Aye.
Resolution 2022-08-03 passes. Committee updates. Public Works.
We did not meet this.
I think Brian was gone, yeah.
Brian was gone, and he didn't have anything on the agenda for us for this month.
Public safety?
We're trying to get, all the departments, fire, police, and ambulance keys to all these apartments and schools and buildings and stuff right now. It's kind of a work in progress. We had some discussion on the generator for there. We've contacted electricians and they're just looking into it. You know, I mean, it takes some time to see how much power it needs and blah, blah, blah. And then we just went over some blight stuff again and then talked about trying to hire. So,
Steve called me this afternoon and he wanted us to approve 3 new members for the department. That'll start on Monday.
oh,
Ryan Hoban, Philip Newell, and Gary Ludding. So they've done background checks on all of them, and he would like to get them going on the Monday meeting, which would be
probably next Monday.
So, we don't need official approval, but it's just for your guys' awareness.
Okay. Beautification?
Basically just went over the cemetery stuff.
I was gonna say, I think we got
It's
that.
probably a pretty big chunk.
That was, we did discuss, there was one other thing now that I didn't,
Can I add something?
go for it.
You guys might know, or you might not know, but there was some damage done to Eastside Park. A driver went through it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So we damaged about 3 light poles, benches, a few other things. So we are gonna be working on replacing those. And hopefully, I mean, we did catch the person that did it and that person is charged, so hopefully we can recuperate those costs, but,
Good deal.
those new light posts that we just put in, last year?
Yeah.
3 of them were taken out, and then Brianna's bought benches, and if you've noticed that they're on them, they have, sponsors or people that have purchased them, so she went ahead and, the benches are $199 each, she went ahead right away and repurchased those. So we hope to recuperate some of those costs, but, that happened about 3 weeks, 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So,
Yeah, the other thing we touched base on a little bit, I don't know if anyone's been through the park lately, but, the walking path around the park, something that we need to look at for future, possibly maybe redoing it. Weeds are creeping in from the edge, and, just started discussion on what we wanna do there. So
Is there bricks there?
there's bricks along the edge, and then it's crushed rock.
That's what that, okay.
Yeah, or like P-rock. And
Yeah.
Yep, so,
Okay, and I know EDA didn't meet, so I need a motion to adjourn.
so move.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion from Josh, second from Casey, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?